Welcome back, guys. You're still watching Hip to be Square, Maths, Science and Technology, and we are going into the waters. And I'm so glad that we are doing this experiment in the studio on dry land, because I wouldn't last on a ship. So we're trying to figure out, why do boats float and why do stones sink?
Yeah, don't get them confused.
Okay. Get it twisted, baby. Okay, off you go.
Okay, so before we get into the experiment, we're going to have a chat with our caller, Tennille. Hello. Hi, Tennille.
Hello?
Hello. Okay, do you have a question for us, or do you want to try and guess why boats float and rocks sink?
Yes.
Okay, what do you think?
I think boats float because it has a purpose to float and it's structured to float.
Interesting answer. Is that your answer, Tennille?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank
cool.
you.
So
I'm
we
going to
have-
explain this to you now, okay?
So we have
Thanks, Tennille. Bye.
so we have a structure, and then Pedros thought because it has air in it,
Well,
the boat has air. Okay, so Erin, tell us the
We're
answer.
going to do the experiment first and we'll get to the explanation. Okay, so what you're going to need obviously is like some water, and we're going to need something to float on the water. And so we have here the very first Hip to be Square yacht. Constructed out of very basic materials, namely foil. Please hold up, kind assistant. There we go. We've got some foil, and if you're wondering what made the sail, it is none other than the Hip to be Square magazine. Thank you so much, the magazine, for being our sail. Okay, so now you've got the boat, and as you can see, it's floating ever so slightly nicely. And then what we did is we took the exact same amount of foil and we've made a nice little crushed bit rock out of it. And we want to see if this is going to sink. So it's the same amount of foil. We put this in the water and it sinks totally. So now it's gone down to the bottom and our boat is still sinking.
Okay, hold the phone. So you've
Floating,
taken the
sorry.
same amount of piece of paper,
Yeah, foil.
just crumpled it up and throw it in there.
Exactly, so that's been crushed now and that sinks, but this floats.
Okay.
But to further prove the theory, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Chanel to take one stone and I'm going to take another, and the stones weigh roughly the same amount, and I think I might actually have the heavier one of the three, okay? So Chanel, I'm going to ask you to put yours in the water and let's see if it sinks.
Sinks.
Totally to the bottom. Ayanda, you want to try with yours?
Okay, well, mine's got patterns.
Okay, so...
That was just-
Oh, geez, don't splash. Okay, and here we have our stone. I'm going to place it inside the boat, if you don't believe me. There it goes. And our boat
No way.
is floating.
No ways.
Okay, so to be perfectly honest with you, Petros was actually about 90% right on the air theory. You see, boats' shapes do keep them hollow, and the air does help in terms of its buoyant force. But another reason why boats float is actually because of the amount of water they displace. Because if you think about it, boats' shapes means that if you had to fill the boat with water, the amount of water inside would probably weigh a lot more than the boat itself. But because it's hollow and because it's got air and because the size of the boat basically means that the amount of water it displaces is greater than its own weight. That is why it stays above the water and does not sink. Now you're probably also asking, but what happens in terms of cruise liners and cargo boats that carry a whole lot of weight? You also notice that their shape is very distinct and very different to ordinary fishing boat, tugboat, that kind of a thing. And it's all because of the amount of weight and the type of cargo that it would have to carry. So the shape definitely plays a role. The amount of water it displaces definitely plays a role. And then also the amount of hollowness there is in the boat, and the amount of air it carries also plays a role. So different boats have a different purpose, and because of that, their design is also somewhat
So
different.
I think both our callers were actually quite right.
They were actually
because
quite right.
One mentioned air and the other one mentioned
Structure.
structure, shape.
So well
So
done
there
to
we
you.
go. Well
Thank you
done.
so much to our callers for giving us that answer.